Good evening, this is Faye TV calling from Reykjavik, Iceland to the rest of the world, ladies and gentlemen, and the people in between. This is a test for my new YouTube channel. My name is Frida Martins, but I sign my paintings usually with Faye because Faye means believing, and art gave me a belief in a better future. By education, I am an ethnologist, literature scientist, and gender studies scholar. So actually, I would like to talk about some things of daily life in a way that I would say the internet normally doesn't talk about them. So I thought tonight the first video is going to start with something that everyone knows, a fairy tale. About an animal that most people know, a frog. Ta-da! And more to say, the Frog Prince. I have a memory like a goldfish, so I actually support myself with those little drawings. I hope you like them. I've grown up with the Frog Prince, and no, this is not my crown, this is just my trademark. I have a lot of funny hats and I like vintage stuff. So my first thought about a frog is that I really like it because it's cute, because it has big eyes, and because I grew up with it. But most people don't like it because it is so slimy and sticky and slippery. And then the people go like, ugh. But yeah, thanks to David Attenborough for that information. The frogs need the slime to climb up trees and leaves and even to breathe. Like if they dry out because of some fungus infection, then they practically can't breathe anymore. So the slime is a necessary thing for all frogs to live. So sometimes we people also need something to live that other people don't find particularly yummy. The frog is, moreover, a very frugal animal. Like one single frog can, I think, produce 1,000,000 eggs in one load. And then when the eggs start going alive and start moving, and like some people think that's really creepy. And actually, I grew up in a German city named Nuremberg, where they have a mausoleum for some dead holy guy called Saint Sebaldus. And on his grave, there is a little frog made of iron. And I once asked the church lady what the frog should mean in this case. And she said it was a symbol of hell, probably because it was so eek. Where's my eek picture again? And because it was a symbol of some kind of underworld, yeah, because it was so fertile, because like as you might have noticed, church people in the medieval times, they didn't really like talking about sex. So the church goes, look at the side of a frog, and the frog is probably supposed to show the underworld to Saint Sebaldus. At least this is how I understood it, and maybe this frog is also supposed to protect him from the devil, because it can live in two worlds, in the water and on the land. So the Frog Prince sits in a well, and the well is also once again a symbol of some kind of underworld. And like in psychoanalysis, that is also a symbol of our deepest inner self. So that's why I drew like a way to the heart. By the well, the access to the deepest inner self, the princess is playing. It doesn't say how old the princess is, but obviously she is very playful and still of an age eligible for marriage, but all she ever cares about is this 24-karat gold ball. And this is her only love. It's not mentioned that she doesn't have that she has friends. It's not really mentioned that she has a family except for the king, who tells her to be reasonable. And then suddenly, when this all she ever cares about is lost, she first gets sad, and then she starts crying her eyes out and crying her head off, and she starts getting angry. And suddenly there is this messenger of the deepest underworld, slimy, yucky, and I don't know. Oh, I have an idea. But to get this all you ever care about back. But I have my conditions. I only get this all you ever care about back if you let me eat off your plate, you let me drink off your cup, you let me sleep in your bed. Trust me, like I think no frog except for this one would last very long in my bed. But the princess, of course, says yes, because she wants all she ever cared about back. But then the king says, okay, keep your promise. And then suddenly she has some responsibility in her life. Oops. Probably the first person ever to be in her bed, to share food with her. Food is a very big social event in all cultures. And okay, thanks to David Attenborough again, frogs don't drink through their mouth. So frogs drink through their skin. So I would assume actually the frog would have to swim in her wine and swim in her lemonade to drink from her stuff. So he has to intrude her private sphere even more. And she has to take responsibility. She has to learn how to handle someone in her private sphere. And that makes her so pissed she throws the frog against the wall. But due to the type of friends I have with my multiple disability, due to my own life, I suddenly started thinking, okay, I have a best friend who says, sometimes wrath is important, because if you don't get really angry at another person's behavior, this other person will not ever perceive you as a person, will not ever feel your energy. So the princess throws the frog against the wall with like so much energy that you don't even want to know. And then kaboom! He suddenly becomes a prince. He becomes a person by means of her anger. She starts seeing the real him because she admits to her anger. And then, of course, in the fairy tale, it's being happily ever after. Two people happy together forever, but I assume they will still have to take responsibility for each other. And I actually think there is no version of the fairy tale where the frog actually wears a crown. So there is no hint that the frog would be a prince. It's like, please, people, don't round up any frogs and throw them against walls now. I love animals and I respect them. And I also respect them for what they are. And I think like a lot of modern parodies, like Shrek looks a little bit like a frog, so it might have been inspired by the Frog Prince in one way or other. Shrek is about learning to accept who one is and who one's deepest inner essence is. So, and then actually the frog's biological cousin, the toad, is also associated in some fairy tales with the earth, with living somewhere underneath where it's dirty. But there are a couple of fairy tales where the toads have treasures that they have buried in the earth, probably because toads burrow. And in my native language, German, they have Kröten, which means toads as a slang word for money. So I think that says something about a toad as a keeper of a treasure. And I don't know how to put this, and I want to admit to my audience that I sometimes don't know how to put this. Maybe we should dig down deep in our souls to find some treasure that we don't even have any idea about. And on this journey, we might meet people who we first thought, oh, they are slimy, they are yucky, they have way too many strange ideas or something. And then we might get to know them, and then they might feel us as people, and we might feel them as people. And then the world would be a better place and closer to a fairy tale. So have a fabulous night. And yeah, it never said in the fairy tale that you have to kiss the frog. Rather, learn about the frog and admit that you are angry towards the frogs in your life, but also try to resolve issues. Bye bye.